Welcome to a new video. We have flip phone versus flip phone, the Huawei P50 Pocket versus the brand new Xiaomi Mix Flip. Camera comparison, so let's get started. In terms of camera specs, basically we have 2x2 real lenses. The Xiaomi has a 2x 50 megapixel and a 50 megapixel main camera sensor, where the Huawei has an ultra wide angle, which is I think 13 megapixels, and then a 40 megapixel main camera sensor. But it also features an ultra spectrum sensor that helps with filling in some information, and it's also good if you want to see your UV index and if you put enough sunscreen on yourself. And then we have also internal cameras, or the front-facing cameras internally on the internal screens, which is 32 megapixels and 10 megapixels. So quite interesting specs there. Let's see how the videos do here. The inner front-facing camera is what we start off with this video here. Internal mics, by the way, using the Huawei P50 Pocket, and this has 4K 30 frames per second recording. Even though we have only 10 megapixels, it offers EIS. I think it's upscaling from 3 point something K there to 4K. Nevertheless, we have 4K recording at 30 frames per second, which is quite good. So what do you think about this one here? The internal mics and the colors and stabilization. 4K 30 frames per second recording is also available on the Xiaomi Mix Flip. Yes, not on the Fold, but on the Flip. For some reason they put in a better selfie cam and you can record 4K 30 frames per second here. The internal mics I'm using here. So what do you think about the quality here, about the stabilization, colors and so on? I think it's looking quite good and quite natural. The only thing that is missing maybe would be autofocus. Then I would be completely satisfied. What do you think? 4K 30 frames per second here on the Huawei P50 Pocket, using the main camera sensor, seeing myself in this little 1-inch tiny screen, and 4K 30 frames per second. It also has an ultra wide angle. Actually, I'm using the internal mics. This has a reason, because the Xiaomi Mix Flip that I have right here doesn't really support wireless mics so well. You know, this highly noise reduction going on there and denoising filter. So I thought maybe sticking to the internal mics here would be the better case. Let's switch to the ultra wide angle. Just by a tap of a button we go to the wide one, as you can see here. Very good for vlogging because I can hold it quite close to me, and it has autofocus, which is also quite nice. So very versatile and very good for vlogging for sure. We have a bit of a cloudy day right now. This is why you see maybe a little bit of white going on there and not a bluish kind of sky. But this has nothing to do with the HDR here on this device. It's just like we have a cloudy day right now. So what do you think about the stabilization and colors and so on? And we will perform a little zoom test just because we can. This is 2x zoom here, crop on the main sensor, and we can go up to 5x here. It's utilizing an ultra spectrum sensor as well to fill in some information still, and the maximum zoom is 6 times here. So what do you think? 4K 30 frames per second now on the Xiaomi Mix Flip. I see myself on this larger 4-inch kind of screen, but only like 3-inch are really usable when I'm recording 16:9 aspect ratio, because like it cuts away where the cameras are and just has some buttons there. What do you think about this one here? It is quite wide, but it's not ultra wide, and we don't have an ultra wide sensor, so I cannot go even further here. The only thing that I can do is zoom in. By the way, using the internal mics, a bit of a breeze going on. How does it compare to the P50 Pocket? And even zooming in is not so easy. So yeah, it's probably not utilizing the 2x kind of zoom, and we can only zoom in 2x, which is a bit of a bummer when I'm using the outer screen here. But let me switch to the main screen, and then hopefully I can go to the 2x zoom. So this is now the 2x zoom, and I have the ability to zoom in 4 times, which is another button there. It's 2 times crop, and then I can go even further, as you can see here, up to 10 times. I'm not sure about the quality here, if it is really better than what the Huawei can produce here. I can go back to 2x and then 1x. So what do you think about the quality here of this zoom? And a bit of HDR, sun is coming out here right now. As you can see, we have here on the left always the Xiaomi Mix Flip, on the right always the Huawei P50 Pocket. And we start off with the ultra wide angle, the non-existent ultra wide angle on the Mix Flip. So the widest field of view that we can get here is 24mm, or 23mm actually, on the Mix Flip. As you can see here, the Mix Flip has this a bit more contrasty kind of look. It's the Leica authentic look, because it usually gives a little bit better colors there. And on the P50 Pocket, we have like a very bright kind of look. Actually, it wasn't that bright, but it wasn't also not so dark as the Mix Flip makes it look like. And you can see how much wider the field of view is here. I can have lots more of the left tree and the right tree in the picture that we don't have on the Mix Flip. In terms of detail level, of course, yeah, there the Mix Flip is better, but it's not so far off. And even if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that, yeah, maybe like this, it is not doing such a bad job, the ultra wide angle there on the P50 Pocket, I would say. Yes, of course, it is like a wider field of view, so we get like a bit of chromatic aberrations, we get a bit of distortion going on towards the sides, but nevertheless I think it's doing quite a good job, and a pleasing job to my eyes. Also the HDR is working fine on this one as well. And let's go to the next shot, which has been done with the main camera sensor, again in Leica authentic on the Mix Flip versus the agaibst, I think it is. Now, I think it should be still Leica what the P50 Pocket has to offer here. And so Leica versus Leica, and here you can see how close they are together. And the only big difference that you see is like a wider field of view on the Xiaomi, because the Xiaomi has 23mm, where it's cropping in on the Huawei to 27mm. And yeah, we have a bit vignetting going on the Xiaomi that the Huawei doesn't have, but the rest looks pretty similar. When you take a look at the detail level as well, besides like the bit more cropped in kind of shot, you will see that the P50 Pocket offers a little bit more details. It sometimes looks maybe a little bit artificial, but it is not artificial. It's just that the extra spectrum, ultra spectrum sensor there gets those little details there, and the software is intelligent enough to add those little details in there. I'm not sure why they didn't use it further on for their camera systems, because I think they, even Honor was experimenting with it, was adding quite a little bit of detail there that the normal camera sensors wouldn't pick up otherwise. Here you can see, yeah, it is a bit clearer, maybe a bit sharpened up on the Huawei in contrast to the Xiaomi, but you be the judge. Tell me which one is better there in this regards, which one you like better. Of course, it's a bit of a stylistic thing because we have a bit of a vignetting going on here, but color wise you can see they are very close. It's a bit dulled down, and it's a bit brighter on the Huawei, but it's just a tad, as you can see here. Yeah, let's go and check out the next one, which is a 2x zoom, which is a native 2x zoom on the Xiaomi, utilizing its 50 megapixel 2x zoom camera sensor. And on the Huawei, it is just cropping in from the main. But what we can see here clearly is very similar again in terms of colors, which is quite interesting because, yeah, Leica versus Leica. So there you see it. But HDR is much better because it's a crop of the main sensor. The main sensor is larger. Of course, HDR supposed to be better, but here you can clearly see the superiority of the main camera sensor on the P50 Pocket that for 2x zooms gives you better HDR. But what about the rest of the picture, just like the details here? Do we see much of a difference and better details on the 2x zoom on the Xiaomi? And I'm be completely honest, I don't see it. So yeah, the 2x zoom, like I said in my initial review or initial overview and impressions of the Xiaomi Mix Flip, I really rather would have like a 3.2x zoom, then you can see the superiority. But here even I would say that, especially in the darker parts, that the Huawei is even more detailed and winning against the dedicated optical 2x zoom on the Xiaomi. When you come to close-ups, however, there is where the specialty of the Xiaomi Mix Flip's 50 megapixel 2x zoom lies. You can see how great I could capture this photo, even with the Wasp, I think it is, in there. Lots and lots of detail. very, very nice and sharp. And the wasps, because you can see there's another one there in the background, out of focus already, very nice, was flying away when I took the P50 Pocket already out. And you can see that in terms of colors, they're very close. There's a little bit like darker colors there, and I think also a little bit more livelier colors on the Huawei, but this is like a matter of taste as well. This is also 2X, by the way, but here you can see that it's looking a bit more natural on the Xiaomi Mix Flip in contrast to the 2X crop in of the P50 Pocket. But what the P50 Pocket also has is ultra wide angle that has focus capabilities, and this ultra wide angle has also close focusing capabilities, and you get a little bit closer even than the Mix Flip, and you get a little bit more details also with this nice bokeh that you can see there. So yeah, which one you prefer there? I think it looks more artistic definitely on the Mix Flip, and this is why I would say, even like if I go one photo back here, the Mix Flip is the winner here for me. Okay, now let's come to the next shot, which is a extreme kind of zoom test, because if the macro capabilities are there and speaking for the inclusion of the 2X zoom lens on the Mix Flip, how about long range zooms like 10X? Both offer this in photo mode, and this is what you get with the Xiaomi. You can see this little dove there sitting, and this is what you can get with the P50 Pocket. Yes, the Xiaomi looks a bit better, but it is not mind-blowingly better than. Both suffer from chromatic aberrations, both suffer from weird colors. I think the colors are much more realistic on the Xiaomi than on the Huawei for some reason, because the sky wasn't that blue. It was more of a grayish kind of day there this time. And yes, the Xiaomi is a bit better, but it's not mind-blowingly better there, and I wouldn't use it for anything than more than 5X probably on the Xiaomi. Then we come to low light. I don't have any with the kids, with my daughter being going to sleep very early, and I don't have time to just go out and take some photos there. I had to do some photos indoors, and those are these here. With the main camera sensor, you can clearly see that we have a bit of a brighter picture on the Huawei again, where you can see here it's a bit of more bluey here, and here's a bit more darkish. Actually, it's a bit warmer, also the green a bit warmer on the Huawei, where it's a bit colder on the Xiaomi, which is interesting stylistic difference there. In terms of detail level, however, you can see both are doing quite a good job with the Dell logo, for example, or the earbuds here. So I would argue that the earbuds appear a bit sharper on the Huawei there, where it's a bit out of focus already, maybe because of the larger sensor on the Xiaomi. Otherwise, you can clearly see the remote control there back there. Here as well, it's just like a difference in terms of light. It seems to be that the Huawei can, maybe it has RYB sensor, can pull in a little bit more light and has this bluish kind of hue, which I don't know where it's coming from actually. Maybe it's the sensor and the magenta that it's then calculating out, I don't know. But here, detail levels, I would give them equal points there. When it comes to zooming in, this is now, I think it's 2X zoom. I have to just check here what it is. Actually, it is 5X zoom, I think. And that we can just simply quickly calculate it. Yes, 5X zoom here and 5X zoom here. What we can clearly see is the colors, I think, are more right on the Huawei this time, because the rose is a bit darker there. And the only thing is, like, you see a lot of noise going on already. And what the Huawei has, like, yes, in dark conditions you can see less details, more noise reduction going on, and it has this pattern. This pattern I think comes from, which here is like completely, the noise reduction is getting out of the pattern. It's a bit overdone there. There is this pattern on the wallpaper for sure, and I think it's the ultra spectrum sensor that is like getting these details there. But which one would you prefer here? Smoothened out, noise free, or a bit of noise and aliasing and such thing going on? I don't think both are very, very good, but maybe I'm leaning towards the Xiaomi for this one here. And this is 5X. And then ultra wide angle versus 1X again. You can see how much more I can get into the shot here with the Huawei. having a 13mm, which is quite wide, and here we only have 23mm, so 10mm difference there. And in terms of detail level, even with the ultra wide angle, you can see the ultra wide angle is doing quite a good job there. The book titles are readable, I think, most of them at least, if they're large enough. Yeah, here it's getting a little bit problematic there, and I think there's a bit of noise creeping in as well. So yeah, definitely the main sensor is better on the Xiaomi there. But you get the ultra-wide angle of view, and I think it's not too bad on the Huawei for that matter. And this is just a comparison with the main sensors there as well, just to see and check out how well are they here. Both, as you can see here, book titles are readable on both, Fujifilm readable. Here towards the sides as well, it's readable. Maybe a bit darker here, a bit more contrasty on the Huawei, and a little bit haze maybe going on there as well, a bit softer there on the Xiaomi. Both doing a fantastic job, but I'm surprised how well the Huawei is keeping up here with the way newer sensor that we have on the Xiaomi. As you can see here, even this one, I would even say this here looks a bit clearer on the Huawei than on the Xiaomi. Let me go in here maybe. Yes, here as well. Like, looks like a bit of a haze going on there on the Xiaomi. The Huawei is a bit clearer. So overall, I think main camera sensors are neck to neck. Ultra wide angle is something that the Xiaomi doesn't have, where only the Huawei has. But on the other hand, the Xiaomi has the 2x zoom. 2x zoom, however, is only working for the macro mode. It is not really helpful for anything else, because if you zoom in even like 4 times, yeah, sometimes a bit clearer there, but it's not mind-blowingly good, where I would say it will beat completely the digital zoom that we have on the Huawei. So yeah, sadly, this leaves us with something where I would say both equally bad or good in one way. They have one main camera. I think the more useful one is the ultra wide angle on the Huawei still, where the 2x zoom is only useful if you're really into macro photography. Even portraits, I would argue, are almost the same, because the digital crop and daylight at least is at 2 times as good as the one on the Xiaomi with the optical one. It's just like a little bit of difference in terms of, it's a portrait lens. It's a portrait. It is optimized for portraits, will be better than the Xiaomi there. The Xiaomi will be better than the Huawei there, for sure. Do I have any portrait shots? Yes, I have. These are the shots here we've taken with the camera. As you can see, for some reason there's a different kind of aspect ratio there, but yeah, what do you see and think about this one here versus this one? And it's clear as day that yes, this is a clear win here on this portrait shot for the Xiaomi, for sure. And this is where the Huawei is showing its age in portrait shots. It's quite soft there. It's not bad at all, but it's just simply mind-blowingly good on the Xiaomi for that matter. Cutouts are both doing a fine job there. It's just not simply a lot sharper here on the Xiaomi. And where colors in general looking fine as well. What do you think? Which one is your clear winner in terms of photography? That brings us to our conclusion, and TLDR, the P50 Pocket by Huawei gets 3.970 points, where the Xiaomi Mix Flip gets 3.930 points. So what is the big difference here? The Huawei P50 Pocket is winning. Where is it winning? First of all, main camera photo quality is equally good. I don't see much of a difference there, which is quite astonishing, because I thought the Xiaomi Mix Flip would be performing a bit better here, but in reality I don't see it actually. So it gets exactly the same points as the main camera photo quality on the Huawei P50 Pocket. Ultra wide angle, however, is the big loser. Yes, the Huawei P50 Pocket is not the best in the ultra wide angle. This is why it only gets 3.9 points. But the Xiaomi Mix Flip only has its main camera, so It only has 23 millimeters, which is not really called ultra wide, I would say. It's a wide camera, but it doesn't have ultra wide. I could have given it 0 points here, but I want to be a little bit fair here and give it like 2.9 points, which is like the lowest score ever because it doesn't have an ultra wide angle. But yeah, you can somehow get to work with Xiaomi Mix Flips, 23 millimeter, and then you see AI to make it a little bit bigger there and get it somehow of an ultra wide angle. So this is why I give it benefit of the doubt 2.9 points here, which is still very low. Where the Xiaomi Mix Flip beats the P50 Pocket is definitely zoom camera photo quality, because it has a dedicated zoom camera photo quality lens. And this one is pretty good for 2x and portraits and for macro shots. But 2x and portraits, well, you don't see the difference too much there. Definitely with the profiles, more software rendering and so on. But nevertheless, it is better than the P50 Pocket because we have this macro capability that allows us to create quite close and nice details, even sometimes a little bit more details than the P50 Pocket, even though the P50 Pocket can do something amazing with its ultra wide angle, and also the 2x crop on the main sensor is most of the time also very good and almost equal to the Xiaomi Mix Flip. This is why we don't have like a huge benefit of points there, like 4 points on the Mix Flip, but only 3.5 points. When it comes to video recording quality, however, it's a win for the Xiaomi Mix Flip, 4.35 points, and the 0.05 points I will explain. And yeah, 4.2 points for the P50 Pocket. The P50 Pocket, yes, has the ultra wide angle. I think it struggles a little bit more with high dynamic range, which is yeah, maybe because it's an older sensor, and yeah, even with the newer software, it struggles a little bit there. Autofocus performance is the same. I didn't see any issues, and front camera photo quality is basically the same, which is quite interesting because we have higher resolution on the Xiaomi Mix Flip, but I don't notice much of a difference. However, where the Mix Flip is definitely better is the camera UI. We have tons of features there in the camera UI. It is way more, way more modern, I would say it like this, than on the P50 Pocket, where the P50 Pocket is a bit clumsy here and there. Like if you set a timer, for example, there's an easy way to disable the timer on the Xiaomi Mix Flip and to see that you have a timer enabled, which is still not the case on the P50 Pocket, even with Emotion UI 14.2. And in terms of extra features, however, the P50 Pocket has quite some extra features there. This includes, for example, nano memory card, so the possibility to record on an external external media, which is quite nice, and we don't have this with the Xiaomi Mix Flip. And some other features there in terms of extra features are quite nice and handy, but it's very close in terms of extra features because Xiaomi Mix Flip has also tons of extra features there. It's just like the P50 Pocket seems to be a bit more polished there when it comes to the extra features. Let's take a look at how it will look like in the ranking system. So we have to scroll a little bit down, and you see it's 27th on my ranking system, just below the Magic VS, which is a foldable. And you can see like 25th is already the P50 Pocket, so very close together here in those points. And yes, the best flip phone is still the Oppo Find N3 Flip that you can see here. It has a bit of a better main camera sensor, the Oppo, still, even than the Xiaomi Mix Flip, I think, because like P50 Pocket and Xiaomi Mix Flip have basically the same in terms of sharpness and detail levels, where the Oppo Find N3 Flip is a notch better there. The Oppo Find N3 Flip also offers a good ultra wide angle on par with the P50 Pocket, where the Xiaomi doesn't have it. But zoom, which is quite interesting, the Xiaomi has it, the other two don't have it. It's better. It's even better than the Magic VS. Why is it better than the Magic VS? Magic VS, I think, has a 3x zoom. First of all, the 3x zoom is a bit of a crappy sensor that they're using there on the Magic VS. But second of all, it doesn't have any close focusing possibilities. And this is where the Xiaomi Mix Flip shines. And also, I think at 4 times, the Xiaomi Mix Flip cropped in from the 2x lens looks a bit better than the Magic VS's crop in at 4 times. from the 3x sensor there, a 3x lens. And yeah, in terms of video quality here, also the actually 3.5 and 3.4, there we have it. And the 4.35 points is just like the N3 Flip is, I think, a slightly bit worse than the Xiaomi Mix Flip in video recording. Why is that the case? Because on the N3 Flip, it has this large screen on the outer, but you're not allowed to record 4K on the outer screen when it's like in a clamshell mode, in a clamshell, if it's closed up. Where the Xiaomi Mix Flip in the closed up mode can also record 4K, only 30 frames per second, but still this is possible. Where the Finder N3 Flip only allows this in the clamshell mode, so that means like if you have it opened up to record 4K, which is a bit of a bummer. Otherwise, autofocusing is the same, and yeah, in terms of features, there the N3 Flip is also a bit lower than the Xiaomi. So it's nice that Xiaomi has lots of features there. It falls a little bit behind the Magic VS and the P50 Pocket, but still solid here in terms of flip phones. However, interesting, the Xiaomi Mix Flip gets the lowest points of every flip phone that I tested. I have only 3 flip phones that I tested, and ignore the fold here. Why is that the case? It's just because of the ultra wide angle. So if you get the ultra wide angle out and just focus on the performance here of the zoom and the main camera sensor, yeah, it's a bit weaker on the as on the N3 Flip, but when you just take the ultra wide angle completely out of the equation, then the Xiaomi Mix Flip would be even surpassing the N3 Flip because of the way better telezoom lens there, and yeah, and also in terms of video performance, a little bit more solid there. Front-facing camera is also quite okay on the Mix Flip. What is it? Front-facing camera here, 4.4 points actually, and yeah, can record 4K, which is quite nice. It's beating the Magic VS. It has a very crappy front-facing camera, so nice to see that the weakness of Xiaomi phones in general, front-facing camera seems not to be a weakness on the Xiaomi Mix Flip. In contrast to the Fold, I can spoil it already, which is a crappy front-facing camera. This one is pretty awesome and good on the Mix Flip. However, on the Mix Flip, it's probably not necessary to use it because the outer cameras are way nicer anyway. So yeah, what do you think about my ranking here? Is it a fair ranking system, or would you say it is like on par with the Finder N3 Flip, the Xiaomi Mix Flip, in terms of main camera sensor? Yeah, what do you think about this one, and how should I deal in the future with camera smartphones that don't have a particular sensor, like for example the ultra wide angle? I hope in the future the Mix Flip 2 will have an ultra wide angle and maybe a tele one, so I don't have to think about it so much. I think there's for some other phones there as well. I see the Honor 70 there, and yeah, they don't have usually they don't have a telezoom, but here, yeah, it's like a very weak. There's no ultra wide angle. Basically, it's just like a software trick that you can use. Yeah, what do you think about this? Write it in the comment section. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.